Hello, everybody. We have got to talk about running Star Wars in Foundry. It's funny because, I was running Star Wars in Foundry or in Roll20 when COVID started, and I started running my Edge of Empire games. And if you go to our YouTube, you can see we've got two different ones. One that died, which was the first one I did, the one we've got going now, which is the good, the scum, and the villainy. And then soon I'm going to be transferring our podcast actual play of Star Wars, which is a different group. We're going to move that over to Twitch and YouTube as well. We'll be doing that in April. But I started talking to, I think it was Sean from Gaming and BS, who first said, hey, Craig, have you tried it on Foundry? So I really hadn't looked at Foundry, so I went and poked over at Foundry. And I saw that you could have 3D dice, which I know sounds really stupid, but I thought it was super cool that you could do that. And now I'm in love with Foundry. So like I often do with a lot of things, I ended up getting involved in the world, in the community and things like that. Found a lot of people also shared an interest with it, but there's a little bit of work that you have to do, just like you do with Roll20. It takes a little bit of work to get in there. And so I made an initial video about how to do it. And people really, I got a really nice response from it. I've made another video since. And Thomas, who you can see right under me here from the UK, we'll talk to Thomas here in a second. He reached out to me and had some really good questions. And I enjoyed answering them. And then finally, I was just like, I wonder if I could talk Thomas and just come in on the live stream and let's do this as a live Q&A. Because I think a lot of questions Thomas was asking me, I thought a lot of people would enjoy. And it's worth, doing a live stream and a video afterwards. So after all of that long introduction, guys, I'd like you to introduce you to Tom.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, man. And I appreciate you coming on. Got your voice doubled. Okay. So Tom, where did you discover, the whole thing with Star Wars and Foundry?
So we started on Roll20, had to do the whole API, pay and subscribe, which was fine, and we really enjoyed it. And there's just some things that you wish it would do, and it just wouldn't. And we worked through it, went along, but there was always just that little bit of like, oh, I wonder if I wish it could do this, I wish it could do this, I wish it could do this, and then I can't even remember what I was YouTubing, and your video came up for Star Wars Foundry, and I was like, oh, okay. When I first looked at Foundry, Star Wars wasn't even on it. There was no Star Wars system module. So then I saw your video and thought it was like a workaround sort of thing, and then I saw that it was obviously fully implemented.
Yeah.
And I was just like, right, your video was just like, that's doing everything that I wanted it to do. So that was how I was just like, right, I'm going to give it a go. I told my guys, because you have to pay $60, I think it is.
Yeah. And it's a one-time thing, which is great.
Yeah. So I told my guys, and one of my group had played D&D on Foundry, and he'd sung its praises before, but obviously we couldn't play Star Wars on it. So I told the group, and they were like, well, we'll chip it for the cost, and we'll see how it goes. And I've got it working, and we haven't played on it yet. That we play on Tuesday is our first session, but they've logged in and they've done their characters and stuff, and it just does that bit more than Roll20 does.
It does.
To warrant us being like, right, okay, we're going to switch.
It's a little bit more of a robust program is what it comes down to. So it's really not for those of you that are running on Roll20 kept me happy for a year. And they do a good job of it. And the subscription model, whatever, when you even if you're full pay on either by Foundry or you pay for a year on Roll20, your joy per dollar compared to spending $15 to go to the movies, you just can't compare it, right? Yeah. So I'm definitely not knocking Roll20, and I don't think you are either, Tom. But at the same time, this is just more robust. It's just better.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. Like,
no,
Roll20 wasn't built for Star Wars.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing that's always worked with it is it was built for D&D, and it does D&D really well.
Exactly.
But when you sort of you want to run a different game in a different system and things like that, and it's not what it was built for. This just feels like it was built for Star Wars.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you too, and this is a shout out to the Foundry Star Wars Discord, and the just the community in general. This is all community built. This all of the stuff that we're going to be showcasing today, and hats off to all of them. Everybody that's doing it. My mic is off.
Oh no, have you been quiet the whole time?
All right, let's see here. Test 1, 2. Can you guys hear me now?
I feel sorry for them if they've just had to listen to me talk.
God, it's showing my mic on. Oh, heard me the whole time. Okay, phew. Good. All right. Good. I completely lost track of what I was saying. The community. So hats off.
Yeah.
Hats off to the community that has built this, the people that are so generous on Discord, supporting it. And this is just one small contribution. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, sharing this stuff. All right, Thomas, enough bullshit. Let's talk about questions. So what can I show you? What questions do you have?
So my first question was your title crawl, which I think I've always been tempted to do that with my group, but we spend so long fannying around.
Yeah.
To do a title crawl at the start of every session would be redundant because sometimes we don't move from one scene to another. Like what feels like it should be a 10-minute scene actually turns out to be the whole session. So I have an app on my phone that does the title crawl, and you can export it. But it's like, how do you get it into Foundry?
Yep. So and all right. So I just Google Star Wars custom crawl. The first thing that comes up here is this Kessel Labs, which is, I don't know, this has been in existence forever. And all of this text is editable. Right, so you put all the text in. I'm not going to run this because then I'll get delisted on Twitch because it uses John Williams music. But what you then do is you hit play, and it creates the crawl. And then what you do is you use built into Windows or any other program out there is the snip and sketch. So I'll just quickly bring it up so people can see it. So then you open up your snip and sketch. You go to new, select the entire browser window. And then you can record it. So it's just a screen capture. And there's a ton of different screen captures out there. And you end up with a video file. Once that's done, if you're streaming it, make sure you strip out the music. But once that's done, all you have to do is, and this is something that's really slick about Foundry. Here, let's create a new scene real quick. So I'm going to go over here to scene. Scenes, and then let's create a new scene. Close that. All right, so we'll go to delete me. So now you've got your new scene, and all you have to do is go down to the tiles.
Yeah.
Go to the tile browser. Find on your computer, and I find it easier to do it off of this display mode, which shows the tiles. You scroll down to the bottom, and it's not showing right now, so let me kind of bring that up. Well, at the bottom here, for some reason, it's not coming up on my screen. I don't know why. I can't scroll down. Oh, there it is. Okay, so then you find it, choose the file, and it'll grab the video, right?
Yeah.
And essentially, you just drop it into the background.
Okay.
And then you're done. So then, once I'm on my splash screen, in this case, I go over to delete me, and it immediately kicks the video off and plays it. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. If you're using Foundry self-hosting, this is a non-issue because you're using your own memory, right? But I use the Forge. So I use the Forge to host it. These video files are huge. And the Forge, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to delete files off of the Forge. So I have since stopped doing this. And that's the only reason why. And now what I do is I use OBS to show the video. of the file. So I create a thing in OBS, which is the same thing we're using here, Streamlabs OBS. But that's how you do it. So if you're hosting Foundry on your own, and people are connecting to your computer to play, then it works perfect. And what's cool is that you can do any video. So any kind of cutscenes you want to do, I mean, it's limitless what you can do, but it's super simple. You just go create a tile, grab it, load it, drop it onto your scene, and then when you go to that scene, it knows to automatically start the video.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use Forge
simple
as well. I looked at self-hosting, and I am not equipped to deal with that kind of technical aspect of it.
Yeah, and see
under your...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
What I was gonna say is the big thing for me is that I've got so much running on my machine because I'm streaming it. Like I've got Siren Labs going, I've got Streamlabs going, I've got the browser going, and I've got my recording equipment going. That like self-hosting was just not gonna work. As powerful as my machine was, that was a bridge too far. And Forge is cheap, and Forge makes it super easy. So. And the other benefit of Forge is that your players don't need you running the thing to access it. So my players can go in and look at their character sheets and stuff. So big fan of Forge.
That was the big thing for me as well, is because a lot of my players do stuff without needing me there.
Yep.
So I did want it to be more go back to Roll20, where they can just log in.
Yep.
Access the characters, do some work on it, on whatever they want to do. You've got some different options to me on your tile screen.
I do? Like what? Talk to me.
You do.
I'll tell you.
The folder, you've got the clock, and then you've got one below that I can't quite make out what it is.
Are you talking about the macros?
No, up. So where you've got the little tile.
Oh, yes. All right. So let's talk about those. These are modules. So let's talk about them real quick. So I'm gonna go over here, and let's go to manage modules. So the clock is the clock's
Blades in the dark.
Correct. So I'm a huge fan of the clock mechanic. And my first introduction to it was Blades in the Dark. Though clocks come originally from Powered by the Apocalypse has clocks. I love clocks. And I think they're a great mechanic in any RPG. In fact, I have a video on my YouTube about using clocks in Star Wars. If you haven't watched it, check it out, because I show how I took clocks from John Harper and I dropped it into my Star Wars games, and my players absolutely love it. But if you add that clocks in there, you'll get this option, and creates a nice little clock for you. And then you can fill up the clock. You can change the segments on it. Really easy.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I'll tell you, if you're not using clocks, I don't care what RPG you're using. If you're not using clocks, you should. It's a really, really neat mechanic. Let's see. Mufa just jumped in with a question. I'm hosting on AWS, free for the first year if you set it up right, and can be cheaper than Forge. Very interesting. Yeah, that's the only thing, Mufa, I've heard that AWS is a really great solution for hosting, but it's just that much more of a pain in my butt. But if it's not a pain in the butt for you to do it, it's a great option. And the reason Forge was good for me is because they made it super simple. So that's clocks. So the next one is Parallaxia. So let me just quickly show it to you. And actually, you know what? I'm taking a little thing here for granted. So let's pretend everybody is new. When you go to the first screen on your Foundry, you go to add-on modules and you hit install module, and you can search for each one of these things when you're going through. That's how I get the modules in there. Then you have to activate them. So let's go back in. So now I'm showing the blinding speed of the Forge. All right. So then once you're in there, we go here, we go to manage modules. You will show up under inactive modules, and you just check it. And then it'll automatically make it active. So the name of this module is, where'd it go?
Wow. You have a lot installed.
We got a lot to talk about, man. So here's Parallaxia, right? And this is where I use Parallaxia. So what Parallaxia does is it takes a tile in the Foundry, and it will loop it, which is really, really cool. Really, really cool. Hey Tom, thanks for the follow, man. Let's and I'll show you where I used it. So, and I've had people ask me about this.
Yes.
Is this screen?
I was going to ask you about this.
So here, when I have my people flying in the ship, I've got a PNG of their ship, right? So it has no background, so it's got a transparent background. I've just grabbed this off of Google Images. Then I have a background that is moving, which, and I'm gonna be a bit of a broken record. It's stupid little things like this that can just push things up over the edge just a little bit for your players.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really dumb. Like the 3D dice, it's really dumb, but it just is that little bit extra that just kind of makes your players go, "Ooh, that's cool," and makes you think. But so what all this is you can find a tile. Go look for Starfield tile, and some of them are meant to be tiled. So that's why you should look for Starfield tile. And what a tile means is that on the left, the right, and the top and the bottom, I could put two on top of each other, and they'll be seamless. Right? The way that they're designed, they're seamless on the edges. So if I put three across, it would look like one object going across. If I put two on top of each other, you don't see the transition, right? Because the way it's been designed. And what that allows this to do is it allows it to loop it vertically. So what you can do is you add the Starfield without the motion as a tile. And then you use this tool, which will show up once you've added the module, and it'll allow you to loop it vertically or horizontally.
That is so cool.
So that's neat. All right, what's next, my friend?
You had another one that I don't have. Click on the top left, the basic controls, the little man at the top.
Okay.
And the lightning bolt.
Ah, the lightning bolt. This is the popcorn. All right, so let's talk about that. So here, we'll go to active modules and popcorn initiative. And probably the best way to talk about it is let's go to the site. So it's built for... that's not the site for it, though. Popcorn Initiative, Foundry VTT. So what this does for you is it gives you a little additional stuff that you get when you're doing your initiative slots and you're going through your initiative slots. It shows the well, you can see it. I'm not going to read it to you. And it's almost invisible when you're playing with it. But I can show you how it works here. So let's create a combat real quick. So I'm going to highlight everybody, right click, create a combat. So there's everybody, and let's go ahead and have them roll initiative real quick. There's my 3D dice.
If you click on the little group icon on the top left, it rolls everyone all
Yep.
at once.
Yep, that's actually a great tip.
Real handy.
Yep, super handy. Ooh, look at that.
Handy.
That dice spin all to hell. All right, so now I've got initiative set, right? And then what I usually do is I pop it out. So if you didn't know that little trick, you just right click on the fist. It'll pop it out for you, so that way you can have your dice visible while you're tracking it on there. And then what the popcorn does, well, where'd it go? There's the lightning bolt. So here, I then bring this up. And what's really nice about it, so incidentally, in Star Wars, and people that already play Star Wars, hey, Dead Aussie man, how you doing? People that already play Star Wars already know this, but the way initiative slots work in FFG Star Wars, I love. And that is you know, everybody rolls initiative here, right? And I'm going to do this, and I'll explain what happens later. What you need to do is you need to, regardless of who rolled initiative, any player can take that slot. The one little challenge about it, though, so now that these are all PC slots, any PC can go in any one of those slots. What can be a little bit of a PETA is remembering who acted and who's left. And what this does is this allows me to, so if B5 says he's going to take the first initiative, I just hit act and he goes away. So now, all right, who's left? Okay, Dash is left. All right, Zace, you go. Gal, you go. Then I go to next exchange and it brings him back. And if I had some NPCs in here, some stormtroopers and stuff, they would be in that exchange as well. So it's a silly, stupid little thing, Tom, but it just makes my life a little bit easier.
And when you do next exchange, it automatically changes it to round 2.
Yeah.
On the combat tracker.
Yep.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It makes things just a little bit easier to run. And I think it was originally designed focused on D&D and Pathfinder, but it's super useful in its own weird way, even more useful, I think, in Star Wars, because the slots are not specific. So while we're here, Tom, I'm just going to quickly talk about this combat tracker. This is a macro, and that's how I converted. So again, if we go here and let's end the combat. Let's quickly do this again and create a new combat. And let's go ahead and roll for the players. Look at all those dice. So here we've got all the initiatives done now, right? What this macro does, this combat macro does, is that it turns them. And actually, you know what I'm going to do is let's just quickly put some stormtroopers in there. All right, so let's add him to the combat. Let's add him to the combat. All right, so here you can see now they're as stormtroopers, and then we'll roll the NPCs. And the stormtroopers are going to kick their butt. Oh, you know why? It's because each one of these is a minion group of 3, so they had super upgraded vigilance. But anyway, now what I want to do is I want to convert this to slots, and that's what this combat does. So as soon as I click that, it has my NPCs and my PCs. And one thing, and this messed me up at first. Let's go to our actors real quick. So let's get rid of this. And when you are going to your prototyped token, this token disposition is super important. That's how you decide if something is friendly or not friendly. So you can see I can have them neutral, friendly, or hostile. That determines what slots they get. So just make sure you pay attention as you're creating your tokens that you do that correctly. That messed me up for a little bit.
Yeah, I fell down on that one as well.
Yep, super easy to do. All right, so now let's quickly talk about where to get that. So if you Google Star Wars Foundry VTT, it'll take you to there. Click on the project URL. It's going to take you to this, and all of you here, all of those people listed among the contributors, hats frickin' off, because what you have created here for Foundry is really, it's incredible. So all of you get mad credit that have contributed to this module. But anyway, go to the wiki, click on macros. It's going to, and this is, we can show this if we need to, create the critical injury table, huge. Create your critical hits table for vehicles, huge. Roll critical injuries from a table. All of this stuff is copy and paste. They've done all the work for you. And then they show you how it works. But down here, I don't actually use that one. Auto rename combat slots. That's it. That's the macro. You copy and paste that in, and it'll automatically create those for you. Super easy to do. And if you're not sure how to create a macro in Foundry, just do a quick Google. It's very, very, very easy to do. So that's popcorn. That was a long way to get to popcorn. Answer your question. All right, Tom. What else do we need to talk about? Yeah, it's a good one.
Hover over one of your. There you go. You've got all of these, like the health, sort of pops out to the side.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So that's
your health. You got your
health, strain. That's the soak.
Soak.
And then that is the melee defense and the range defense.
How?
And what it's this one's $10. This one you have to pay me $10 to get.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll explain it. What's super handy as a GM because you can just quickly hover over somebody and go, okay, Dash has 3 soak. And I've got the bars too, but I can also visually quickly see, oh boy, I see Dash has got 10 wounds. So that module, let's go back to our modules. Let's go to active. And that one is, where is it? I've got so many. Status icon counters is the name of it. And when you configure it, so let's go to configure settings. Oh, where is it? See, this is the problem I've got. Or no, you know what? I lied to you. It is token tooltip. And you can go here and you can set it up for all the different settings. So it's token tooltip alt is the name of it. I lied to you before. But super convenient. Takes just a little bit of work, but once it's set up, it's done. And you can set it to be up all the time. You can set it to be a hover. You can set it to be a click.
That's really handy.
Yep, super handy.
The icons that you've got next to your stormtroopers, is that to show that it's a minion group?
It is. It allows me, what that allows me to do, so you'll notice that, and here, let's just take a look at the prototype for Stormtrooper so you can see what I've done here, because I think this is also handy. If I go to the prototype icon, you see for the resources, I've got the bar 1, which is the bottom bar is your wounds, right? And they don't have strain, so I don't need to do strain because they're a minion group. I set it to quantity. Yeah. And what that allows me to do is see how many minions are in that group. And what's really slick is as they take wounds, like let me show you here. Like if I give them, not 45 wounds, if I give them 4 wounds, right? And let's hover over my guy here. It's still 3 dudes, right? But then if I go ahead and do 6 wounds, notice how it automatically dropped my quantity down to 2.
Yeah.
And what's nice is now you see it automatically dropped my dice on its career skills, which is a BFD. It's really, really handy. That
was when I saw your sort of setting up Foundry first videos. That was one of the first things I saw where I was like, that's a game changer for a GM doing minion groups.
But I don't like when I'm playing with my players to just show one and say, hey, that's 3 stormtroopers. So what I just do is that I just copy and paste them, right? So that way they can visually see there's 3. And it's just literally all I just did was Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste them. But that 1 is the squad icon. So that tells me that's all squad 1. This is all squad 2, because the reason I can't, if I have 2 minion groups, they need to be separate actors. And that's why you see I have 3 here. Because if they're not, then they're going to tie in all of that, those wound changes, and it's just going to kind of mess you up. So that's what I'm doing there. And then you do that just through the through the icons, which is here, the status icons. All right. Yeah, something different, right? All right, I saw somebody jump into chat here. Tom and I were having issues getting my character sheet to automatically remove black dice from knowledge-based rolls on one of the specializations. Any ideas? Yeah, there's a couple ways we could do that. So let's bring up an actor. Let's bring up B5. Okay, and let's.
I know who that is. Hi, Dan.
Hey, man, I appreciate you watching here.
Ask me a question.
So let's say that you have got a specialty that automatically adds a boost or removes a setback or something along those lines for a particular attribute. What you can do is you can actually go here and let's create an item and let's call it remove setback. And we're going to make it I'm trying to remember what to make it. Is it no, it's not talent. Oh, crap. No, I can't remember. Not critical, not force power, not gear, not talent, not ship attachment. Oh, am I doing it in the wrong place? Hold on a second. I know we can do this because I've done it. Is it would it be? No, it's not going to be a journal entry. I'm pretty sure it's here. All right, let me just try something here because I've done this before. Oh, you know what? I know where I can find it. I can find it here with obligation. So what did I create obligation as? That's not very helpful. What is it? All right, let's figure it out together here. So we're going to go to create item, remove setback. We're going to, it might be a critical, all right, let's do it as a critical injury. That might be a place to do it. So we're going to create a new item. And then what we can do is go to modifiers. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it as a skill. Remove setback. And then we'll say what skill it is. So let's say that you've got something that allows you to remove a setback from charm, right? And we should probably call this charm. So we're going to close this. So now I've got this entity, this remove setback charm. And now what I can do is I can go to the critical injuries and add that. So now anytime he rolls charm, it'll remove a setback. Does that solve it?
Yes. He plays a character that's a clone commander.
Nice.
And one of the things in the talent tree is that on all knowledge skills, you remove a setback dice.
Gotcha.
So we're kind of happy to just like track it and have a little reminder for him. But if we can have it where it automatically does it, so much better.
Yeah, and see you.
Having to remember to.
And what you can do here, Tom, and your buddy can do is instead of remove setback charm, you can say have this be set. Remove back knowledge checks and just add a knowledge check.
Yeah.
Right. So you can add several of these.
We tried doing it within the talent, and it brought the little icon saying it with the black dice with a red line through, but it didn't automatically do it.
Yeah. And that's something that, and maybe if people are watching this later, it might be because from my understanding, attributes that adjust your rolls are coming. And I think in the current alpha version of this module, it's being worked on. But it's the same thing with attributes for weapons. So like if a weapon has accurate, right now, it doesn't automatically add the boost die for you. But my understanding is that's coming. But here's a workaround for you until then.
That's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so what's next? And this is obviously for those of you watching as well as for Tom. What else can I teach you, Tom?
What macros do you have implemented? I have two. I've got the combat one,
yep,
which is super helpful, and then the boost setback, so you can it gives the next active PC a boost or a setback dice.
Yep. It's really cool. It's really cool for both boost and setback. So yeah, that's all from the same place where I got the combat one.
But I don't have any others. Those are the two that I use.
Okay.
I was wondering.
Let's talk about that. So this one allows me to roll the critical injury. So if you remember the in the wiki there, it gives you instructions for creating critical injury as well as critical damage tables, and where they will end up is you'll end up creating these. These have to be created manual. It's a one-time thing. It's a bit of a PETA, but essentially you create the table, you name it critical damage or critical injuries. And what this does is it allows me to automatically roll it. Now, once that's done, it's really badass. So I'm not going to teach you how to go through it because it's just go to the wiki and copy and paste it. The same way we talked about with the combat one. But watch how cool this is. I click that. It brings up the critical roll for me. I can say, is this critical damage or a critical injury? Or is it obligation? So in this case, it's going to be critical injuries. And let's say that they already have 2 of them. Right, so it's going to be plus 20. You roll the crit. Automatically rolls the crit for you in the chat. But here's the cool part. Let's say it was Dash doing it. I now can grab Discouraging Wounds, drag it over, and he's got that crit.
Oh, that's really cool.
Which is super slick. Super, super slick. And I've got Obligation as a separate one, but it does the same thing. So I created a table with my party's obligations. And you do 2 things. You create the entity, that it's the actor, B5, from 1 to 5. He has this bounty. Bounty is the text of it, right? That's the obligation. And then you create an entity item obligation, which is, if you remember over here, is this guy. All this guy does is it does -2 strain. Now, you can also set it to give -1 strain to everybody else. I don't do that in my games. I house rule that my obligation, if somebody rolls their obligation, it only impacts them. It doesn't impact the whole crew. That is a break from the rules. So if you're playing by the rules, you're going to want to also add it doing -1 to everybody else. But what's cool is that for each obligation, you have 3 entries. You set the roll table up. This item here, you only have to do once, because it's that -2 status is regardless of which one's rolled, right? And what that does, which is super cool, is then we go back here. I'm going to roll obligation. It rolls my obligation. It came up as Zaish, his debt, and then I can grab that obligation, drag it over to Zaish, and now he's -2 strain threshold, which is really, really nice. Really, really nice. So that's the obligation. All right, we got a couple questions in the chat. How well would Foundry handle a game with rotating GMs? We have a round robin game startup, super easy to do as long as you're syncing up with everybody. Tom Cthulhu, that's a great name. Super easy to do. You just have to. The only thing is that from a security aspect, you're gonna have to share logins. So there's a game master login in Foundry, and you just need to share what that is and then the password, and people can rotate and take turns doing it. Though, to be honest with you, I'm trying to think. No, you'd want to do it that way. That's how I would do it. So not that difficult. Or you can, now are you rotating GM? I'd be curious to know, are you rotating GMs through the same game? So is it the same game and people are swapping out characters in GM? Because that's super interesting. The other thing is, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. Everybody go buy Foundry and let you guys run your own individual games, because it's worth the money. And Foundry is not as big as Roll20, obviously. And throwing them a little bit of cash ensures that this thing stays alive. So if you're able to, that's what I would recommend. But yeah, you can just change your logins and have one person log in as the player, one person log in as the GM. All right, so Snoop asks, do you have any neat ways to keep track of range bands with them being a bit abstract? Wow, that's a crazy question that Tom asked me before the thing. So one of the things that Tom mentioned is he likes how I handle range bands in the system. So let's do this. Let's have them battle in the jungle. Now, Snoop, I'm going to predicate this with something that's, that's awesome, dude. Buying Foundry for everybody for birthdays, that's an awesome move. You're a good player in GM, man. That's a very cool thing to do. So the one thing I'm going to predicate all of this on is I don't use battle maps. with Star Wars, right? Like if you're playing D&D, you got to use battle maps. It's built into the rules, right? It's very where people are going from, tile to tile and stuff is super important. Though a lot of people successfully run 5e without battle maps, but that's a whole nother discussion. I like to do what I'm doing here, which is kind of set the scene with a couple shots that I grab off of Google Images. There's another module that does these weather effects, which is really nice. So it's raining in the jungle. So I got this cool little raining effect, which is something that I love for Foundry. And I try to keep things as much theater of the mind as possible. But, and there's a lot of combats. Like if you go through and look at my actual plays, you'll see a lot of combats where I don't use what I'm about to show you because I'm able to handle the combat because of the number of players. And if everybody's going to be in short range or everybody's going to be engaged with each other, I don't bust out this tool. But if it's a larger area where I've got, like when the battle that we did recently, I think it was session 7 of The Good, the Scum, and the Villainy, there was a lot of distances being covered. We had some players at long distance, short distance, and so on and so forth. So I did use this tool. So let me just quickly show you. If I go to my tiles and go here, I've got this guy, my combat overlay, and I just grab that and drop it here. Now, this is something that I created in Illustrator myself. Nothing very special about it. What I do is I drop this on my scene. And essentially the way I've done it is I've got a nice little cheat sheet here on the left for people. Up here, it helps me keep track of the number of bands. So let's go ahead and create another combat. So let's say that we have got B5, and we've got Dash, and we've got Gal. Why isn't anybody showing up? That's weird. I've never had that happen before. I can't get anybody to come. I can't get my tokens to come on for some reason. Let's hold on a second. All right, it's working there. If I go to, oh, they're all there. They just wasn't refreshing. So we got all kinds of people in combat. All right, so here I've got, let's say we've got Gal and Dash, and we've got B5, right? And let's say that they're all engaged, right? So they, relative to each other, are engaged with each other. So they are, or in close distance, depending on whether it's ship combat or not. So I put them all in the same band. And then let's pretend that we're going to have Stormtroopers in short range, and Stormtrooper 2 are going to be 3 bands away, so they're long. And because it's all relative, this makes it really easy for me and my players to keep track of things. So now we're going to say, all right, it's B5's turn. And B5 says, you know what? I want to use my move to get engaged with a Stormtrooper. I just move him there. So now he's engaged with a Stormtrooper, but Gal and Dash are still short distance to the Stormtrooper. And they're still long distance to that Stormtrooper. And now B5 is only medium distance from the Stormtrooper. So it's just a real easy way to track it over and through time for it. So the next inevitable question people ask me is, can I get this overlay? Because it's already made, it's a PNG file. The answer is yes. So if you like, subscribe, and follow, then shoot an email to admin, A-D-M-I-N, admin at thirdfloorwars.com. Shoot me an email and say, hey, Craig, can I get the combat overlay for Star Wars? I'll reply back to you and do it. The only thing is that unlike this one, I've got my Third Floor Wars logo on there, and I'd appreciate it if you kept it there. But I'm happy to email it to you. I've already sent it out to about 30 people that have emailed me and asking for it. So don't hesitate. I'd be happy to send it to you. And then to get rid of that, incidentally, you just come here, whoops, go to your tile, hit delete, and it's gone. So that's how we do that. All right. So, Onisaru, you asked, could you talk a little bit about the combat HUD? Kind of on the fence about using it. I was too, and I love it. So let's talk about the HUD real quick. First, let's talk about the add-on. So if I come here, and I go to manage modules. We go to my active modules, and it's Elandri's token HUD scaler. And then I think there's one more that does it too. I think you need two things, or that might just be it. Nope, token action HUD. You need both of those. So what that does is when I click on Gal, you may not have noticed this upper left-hand corner. It has Gal because he's who's selected. And incidentally, this works for the players as well. It automatically brings up the weapons, all of his skills, his combat skills, his knowledge skills, and any utility. Right? Utility I don't really use. But what's neat is that we come here, and let's say I say, hey, Gal, do me a favor. Go ahead and I'm going to use my heavy blaster pistol. Instead of having to open the character sheet, it just brings up the roller for him. Right? So it's got that. We're going to go ahead and say it automatically knows what skill to use. It puts up the difficulty. We give it a roll. And then here we can see his heavy blaster pistol with 7 damage, +1 for the extra success, because he got 1 success. It does 8 damage. It tells me the crit, stun setting. And this is built in. This has nothing to do with the HUD. But what the HUD is really nice for is it allows people to do their rolls and allows you as the GM to do it. So if I go to the Stormtrooper, I can do the same thing and say, all right, I'm going to roll, athletics for my Stormtrooper. And it does it for me automatically as well, which is super handy. So I'm a big fan of the HUD. I like the HUD. All right, so let's see, where are we? That's the range bands. Question answered. Oh, Snoop, that's Tom got all his players to join. So I'm glad, Snoop, that you guys are going to do that. All right, so DJMC, a load of my specializations only apply to mass combat. I'll be intrigued to see how range bands work with a butt ton of combatants. I will too, DMGC. And what you might want to do, and I've done this before, is create a token for a group as opposed to individuals. So I've had some large scale games, and it's nothing that I've recorded, but what I'll do is I'll have a party token, which represents all 4 of them. Right. And because it's such a mass combat, then I'll have an entire, group of stormtroopers that could be 2 or 3 minion groups, all represented with a token. I'll be anxious. Let me know, DJMC, how that does work for you. Yeah, Oni, I'm a big fan of the HUD. It does make it much faster. All right, Tom, what's next on your list, my friend?
I did have something else, and I forgot what it was. I did ask on Twitter about how to roll light and dark side, because there is no.
It's not intuitive.
No easy way to see.
No, it's not intuitive.
It took me, after I messaged you, and then we talked about me coming on with questions and stuff. It took me about another hour to find where it was, and the update that they've done to the module has made it easier, but at the time it wasn't. You had to right click on a certain part of it, and then do roll Destiny.
And it's funny if you watch.
It's changed now. It actually happened.
Yeah, what's funny about it, Tom, is like if you watch some of my live plays, you'll see me forgetting how to do it, and I knew how to do it already. So if I want my Destiny pool, I zero it out here. So let's say that from last game it was 3-0. I just zero it out there so that we're even Steven, right? And then what you can do is you write. Or where is it? It's down here, right? Look at I still can't do it. Or is it changed?
It's changed. If you click on the little icon that you've got there now, it's a drop down that says, or it is on mine. There's the group manager and then a dice. I updated my module.
Oh, I must not do it. So let's the old way to do it was, if I remember correctly, it was a right click.
You have to get it where it's got the 4 arrows and then right click.
There it is. Yeah, it's a pain. I'm glad that they updated it. So I need to update my module, but you right click on the little bar there and then hit request roll. And then it brings this little thing. And it's handy once you know where it is. And you don't forget it every time like I do. And then you can just do this here and it'll prompt your players to roll and it'll populate it for it. But yeah.
Destiny points is something that me and my group, we'll roll it and we'll have a good jab at each other because there's one character who always rolls 2 dark side every time. So we'll get that out of the way and have a little jab at them, and then we forget. Forget to use.
Oh, it's so easy to forget to use. And I've gotten better as a GM. And this is something I'll recommend to you as a GM is remind your players. So, hey, do you want to use a light side? Do you want to use a light side? And the other thing as a GM, this is another GM tip, and it's something that really changed things for me, is don't remind them to get in the habit. You have to prompt them at first, especially if they're not familiar with the system. Remind them they can use light side, not just for mechanical reasons, not just to upgrade rolls. So if sometimes I'll do it and it's kind of a dick move, but I'm helping my players by doing this. So Tom and I are playing and Tom's one of my players and Tom goes, hey, like, is there any crates around here that I can hide behind? And I'll say to him, for a light side point, we can make crates there. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching my players that they can change the world. They can impact what's happening in the world by using a light side and negotiating with the GM. And I also do it as the GM, right? So it's kind of a funny thing. Like, I can do whatever I want in the world. I'm the GM, right? I don't need permission from anybody to have someone show up. And what I'll often do is, like, I know a group of stormtroopers are about to bust through the door. But what I'll do is I'll say, I'm going to use a dark side point. And you hear a bang as the door breaks open and 3 stormtroopers come through. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching my players how to use those dark and light side points, not just for mechanical reasons. And when you level up your players and you level up yourself as a GM and start using light and dark side, not for mechanical reasons alone, there's nothing wrong using it for mechanical reasons. But when you start using it for other reasons, it has a whole new feel to it, and there's a whole new level of engagement. And here's a quick plug. Everybody that's watching this before and after, if you have not subscribed to Runeslinger on YouTube, you are missing out. Anthony's a buddy of mine, and he is, without a doubt, the best Star Wars RPG content creator, hands down. He's got 20, 30 videos about this system. And he's a great thinker in the RPG community. He's a great guy to boot. Go subscribe to Runeslinger. And the reason I'm bringing this up is he just recently did a video about light and dark side and the Destiny pool. And it's really a good watch, and it'll make you rethink how you're using it. And how you can frame it better as the GM to make it more than just tokens and mechanics. So that's a quick plug. And Tom and I were actually talking about Anthony Runeslinger before the show. Tom's a big fan as well. His videos are amazing. He will make you better as a GM player.
Oh yeah, definitely. When I was first getting into Star Wars roleplay, his were the first videos that I found, and they corrected a lot of. I said to Craig before, I am a seat of the pants GM. My prep is minimal, is overstating the amount of prep that I'll put into a game. But also I'll read the rules enough to understand. And his videos helped me correct a lot of things that I'd maybe misinterpreted or got wrong. And his video on dark side and light side points has changed how I feel about using them.
So you watched it, Tom. It's a great video.
Oh, yeah. I've watched it. And it is a great video. And I would recommend anyone to go and look at Runeslinger's channel if they're getting into GMing for Star Wars, because it's really big help.
Yeah, he's also got a YouTube. He does a lot of different systems. He's getting ready to run I'm part of one of his little pods that he has of different role players from all over the world. Right now we're doing, and he's a player in this. We're doing Age of Rebellion, being run by a good buddy of mine, Aloy. But he's prepping to run me through, and me and the other guys through Alien RPG from Free League, which I'm super excited about. But here's the channel. Go subscribe to it, and I'll tell you, don't only go to definitely go to the Star Wars one, right? That's what we're talking about. His Star Wars playlist, but all his other stuff, even if he's not talking about a system you play in, he will make you a better GM and he will make you a better player. So that's a no-brainer. All right, so
I house rule that we had for light and dark side points, which I put in at the start and we've never used, but I think it captures. One of the things I love about Star Wars is that the world exists without the viewer.
Yeah.
In the fact that, like, little moments like when C-3PO says, I don't know where the ship has learned to communicate, but it speaks in a very weird form of language or something like that. I like those little moments. And one idea that I read for using light side and dark side points was, I know a guy.
Yeah.
And that's where your players can spend a light side point, and they know someone who can help, like a Lando Calrissian moment. And then when they use it, you basically NPC on the fly.
Yep.
And you can decide, did you leave on good terms, bad terms? Like, is this going to be almost a standoff encounter, but you need that person to help you? And it's a cool way to bring your players into the making of an NPC for the game.
I love that. I love that. The only caution I'll put with that, Tom, is be careful you don't step on a talent, because there's a couple talents that do that. But if you don't have that in play, so if none of your players have access to that tree, I love that idea, because again, it teaches them the power of the Destiny pool, and also another thing that I do a lot too. So let me show you something. I'm going to show you a quick thing here, right? So let's say the Gal is going to shoot his blaster, right? And then Gal says, I'm going to flip a light side point. So he's going to then upgrade his ability, right? Which essentially just added a green to his roll. And then let's say that he aimed. So let's add a boost to it. And then let's also say it's raining in the jungle. So that's going to add a setback. Right. And this is all derivative of Runeslinger. Runeslinger has really taught me how to get the most out of this. Here's another quick plug. If you don't listen to the podcast, I interviewed Jay Little on my podcast, who created the narrative dice system for Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, as well as that was the first time he used it, and then he used it when he created this. So if you're not it's Tabletop Talk by Third Floor Wars podcast. Just search for Tabletop Talk, Third Floor Wars, Jay Little. It's a great episode. Jay was an amazing guest. And if you play this system, you're going to want to listen to that. But so between Jay Little and Anthony, I've really learned how to maximize this dice system. So let's talk, before I get into this, let's talk about what we're seeing on the screen, right? So Gal has rank 2 in that skill. That's how he's got 2 yellows, right? His base ability obviously is 2, and his rank is 2. That's how we have 2 yellows. He's added a green because he flipped a destiny point. This is just the difficulty we're going to use. He's aimed for a blue, and he's a black for a setback. So we know why all of those dice are there. So let's roll it. Now, here's the story that we just got told. He missed, right? He missed, but he got a triumph. So this is actually more interesting than I expected. So he has 2 threats. Where did those threats come from? They came from a black and a purple die, and the purple die don't really tell me anything, but one of them came from the black die. So if I'm going to use that setback or that threat, I might use those 2 threat to say, you know what, Gal, you fire the pistol and you slip in the mud, the wet mud from the rain, and you fall down, because that's where the threats came from, and that's why I'm using the threats. Or if I'm even going to use them for strain, I'll just say the stress of the rain coming down on you, it's just the whole situation is very stressful, because that's where the threats are coming from. Aiming, I might say to Gal, or hopefully I'm training my players to try to get better about this too. Your aiming did no good. You still missed. And how do I know the aiming did no good? Because it came up a blank. His one advantage was because of his upgrade, and he got the triumph, right? Now I might talk about his skill level, whatever. When he tells me what he wants to use the triumph from, the triumph came from the fact that he is trained in shooting this gun. So that's just a quick tip on.
Sorry. I have to just disappear for 2 seconds.
Yeah, please, Tom. I'm running my mouth. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. My viewers are used to me just running my mouth. So, but and here, let's just do it again. Let's add some boost and a setback, and let's just roll again. And look at, again, the story that's told. So whatever generated the setback didn't have an impact. His rank gave him 2 successes, so it's his skill, not his base ability, that really contributed to the successes. So you can really use these dice to dissect and help with the narration. Not just looking at whether you netted successes or netted advantages. All right, so I'm behind on the chat. I'm going to catch up here. Mufa said, start throwing them daunting tasks. Suddenly they remember they can use light side points. That's very true. And that's actually, Mufa, something just in general as a GM. I mean, don't TPK your players, but they're there to be met with challenges. So pressure as a GM is what your job is. You want them to be under pressure. I mean, look at Die Hard. Whoever was the GM of Die Hard, like, was relentless, right? You just put the pressure on. So I completely agree. And don't make it easy for them, because they're going to have less fun if everything's easy. Let's see. DJMC, I'm 25 XP away from being able to introduce a fact into a game without spending a light side point. That's awesome. I'm a fanboy of the system, and I love the talent trees, and a talent like that is a big deal. So that's exciting. Tom asked me, are there any other essential mods that we haven't seen yet? Yeah, Tom, I'm going to come back to you after I work my way through this chat, but we'll go through all the mods that I'm using. I'm making use of... Oh, you're fine, man. I'm making use of Forian's quest log. I've watched a lot of Runesinger's videos over the years. Great creator. I'm not, Mufa, if you're still there, I'm not familiar with Forian's quest log. So I'd be curious to know what that is. DJMC, Snoop just ran a cinematic game of Alien for us. It was great. I am so excited. One, I've actually never played with Anthony as a GM, so I'm super excited to play with him as the GM, because he's an incredible GM. But I also have very quickly become a fanboy of Free League. I've got Free League people coming on to the podcast to talk. Some of the creators are coming on the podcast. I have gone headfirst into Forbidden Lands. It is a clever RPG. In fact, I'm running it for my locals after we're done here. So if you have not explored the Free League line, they do Star Trek. That's Modifius. I'm sorry. They do Forbidden Lands, Alien. They've got was it Mutant Zero, Year Zero? They're phenomenal.
Zero, yeah.
And then was it Ciborium? They're like super dark RPG that they got, and on top of it, they're incredibly nice people over there at Free League, so support them. All right, narrative use of Destiny is much more powerful than just upgrading dice, I think. Yeah, Snoop, I agree. It's just remembering that they're there to be used, and that's where it's our job as a GM to remind them, and get in the habit of reminding them, and also as a player, remind your other players. My players have gotten really good about this. They're like, hey, B5, use a light side. And they get that dialogue going. Let's see here. That's a really good idea to read the dice and remember what they're there for specific reasons. Yeah, Snoop, I love that. And don't let it slow the game down. Right. So if you're not doing that right now, just practice it a little bit and introduce it slowly to your players. And it can be just a side comment going, oh, wow, if you netted one success and one of those successes was the blue die, go look, it's a good thing you aimed. Because you aimed, you actually were able to make the difference and succeed. And you just, sprinkle that in, as the GM. All right. So now I promise to go back up. So, oh, where were you? All right, this is Tom. So Tom, back to you. Are there any other essential mods that we haven't seen yet? So let's take a quick look at what mods I'm using. And I'll be honest with you, I've got some active mods that I've activated and I don't think I'm using. But let's look at them real quick. So let's look at my active mods. All right, so adventure music is just a bunch of music that I loaded. It's a free mod. This is a good mod. The Better Ambient Loop by Blitz. If you're like me and you are looping ambient sound in the background using the honestly one of the best sound functions I've seen in a VTT, this makes it so it's a little bit. It basically fades the beginning and the end of the loop. So even if it's not a built loop, the track you're using, it'll make it a loop by doing a soft transition as it goes through it. So Huge fan of that. Clocks we already talked about. That's taking the ideas from Powered by the Apocalypse and Blades in the Dark and having clocks in there. And as I mentioned, I've got a video on YouTube on how to use clocks in Star Wars. I'm a big fan of it. I don't remember what Code Mirror is. I think Code Mirror is a dependent of another module that I'm using. Combat Utility Belt. I feel like I am using that, and I don't remember why. Look into it. Go to the.
I think you've hit on something there that I didn't know when I was preloading modules. Is that some of them you have to have other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are loading modules in, just make sure that you've read the instructions of what it's telling you first. Because I put one in and it didn't work, and I didn't know why.
Yep.
And it was only when I went back and I told you I don't read things much when I'm GMing.
Yep.
I need to start doing it with this stuff as well, because some Code Mirror might require maths.js or whatever it is in order to run properly.
Exactly.
So just read the details first before you install them, or you'll just end up with some broken ones that don't do anything.
So Dark Raven is another free set of really nice soundscapes that you can load in, which is nice. Combat U. Oh, thank you. So yes, the Combat Utility Belt is where I'm getting my custom icons from. That's exactly right. FP Kurt. Thank you. That's exactly what that's for. Is that you saw the custom icons for the squad as well as the utility dice and stuff like that. That's where that comes from. Thank you. Dice So Nice is part 1 of how I get 3D diced. FX Master, I have been playing with this. I don't know if I like it yet or not. It allows you to put sound effects and a soundboard thing in there. So these are all audio. Hook macros is required for the macros that we've been talking about. The combat, all these macros that I use, you're going to have hook macros in there. I don't remember why I've got that. I think that's another dependency one. The HUD scaler gives you more options on this HUD when you right click. Where are we? Custom dice. So that's the part 2 of getting the 3D narrative dice is the Lordu's custom dice for Dice So Nice. But if you load both of those, then you get the 3D dice. Math.js is one that you have to load for something else. The audio pack, that's music. Parallaxia I talked about already. That allows me to do the scrolling effect when they're flying through space. PDF Foundry allows me to bring in PDFs. I haven't really used it. Permissions Viewer, I don't remember what that's for. Playlist Importer, huge if you're bringing in your own music. So I buy music that is broadcast safe, and so that I can, don't get banned on Twitch and YouTube. And this makes it really easy for me to go. I've spent hundreds of dollars on my music. This allows me to bring in that music. Easy.
With the file size and running through Forge, how does the music work?
Make sure you're using MP3 as your format. So the MP3s are tiny. So I've brought in a ton of music, and I've not had any memory issues on Forge. But make sure they're MP3. And the other thing that's nice about the MP3s is it makes them easier for your players to get, because there's less data being transferred because they're small files, and the sound quality is a little bit less. But this isn't a podcast, so it doesn't matter. Playlist UI also makes it easier for me on the music. Popcorn Initiative we've already covered. Soundboard by Blitz is cool. I'm not really using it yet, but allows me to basically have laser sounds and stuff like that. It makes it really easy to set up a soundboard. It was a bridge too far for me. So as much as I love all my gadgets and really kind of immersing my players with all this stuff, having just pew 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 was just one too many things for me to do. But if you're into it, it's good. Special Dice Roller brings in the narrative dice, so you're definitely going to want that. This one's cool. Star Wars User Interface Creative Common. I came across this. He's on the Discord, he or she that makes it. It allows you to reskin this. So let me just quickly actually show you what it looks like. So let's go to Manage Module. I don't want Manage Modules. Configure. Let's go down to his thing. That is not what I wanted to do. Where is it? There. So let's make this Rebel themed.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
So now you like your little cursor here, and it's just got kind of a different look and feel to it. You can see up here. So if we come over here, configure settings, so it even changes the menus. The character sheets change. So if we go over to the character sheets real quick, the icons change, and that's what messes me up. No, that's scenes. Where's my actors? There's my actors. So you see you got different character sheets, got a different look and feel. I think
changing the icons is probably would push me away from that because
that's what broke me too, Tom. So that's why I don't use it. It's gorgeous and I love it. He's got a theme for Rebels. He's got a theme for Edge of Empires. He's got a theme for Imperials. It's super. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, and it's just enough of a pain in my ass that I don't use it. But that's a Craig problem. That's not a module problem. The module is excellent. So let's go down and let me turn it off before I go nuts here. So default. There we go. All right. All right. So let's go back to manage modules, active modules. We're down to the Star Wars. Status icon counters we talked about. Tabletop RPG music is another music thing that I bring in. Action HUD we talked about. That's this stuff up here. Token tooltip alt was with the one that Tom talked about earlier. That gives me the little pop-up there. And then
really cool. I like that one a lot.
Turn alert. I think I tried this and I don't use it, but it basically allows you to, if you want to configure it, it'll notify somebody if it's their turn. It doesn't work well with Star Wars because the slots are not specific to people or to actors. So that's all of those modules. All right, so let's quickly go through this here. Took a snip of Forian's quest log. Mufa, unfortunately, man, I've got the, you can't share links on here because people are jerks. So let's just quickly Google it. I don't know why I asked you about it when Google exists. So let's see if I can figure out what you're talking about. Oh, Forian's quest log. Ooh. Quest log window that let's allow all quests divided into progress completed and oh, that's interesting, dude.
That is really interesting.
Oh, I'm gonna spend time with this.
Draggable item rewards.
Oh, that's interesting. It's another way to kind of do clocks, kind of. Too, because it's like a long-term project from Blades in the Dark. You got long-term projects and use clocks for it. Oh, dude, and you've got some art in there. Oh, I'm gonna check this out. Look at you.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that. That's very interesting. Nice tip. Nice tip. Yo, I'm definitely going to. That's phenomenal. Thank you for that. All right. Combat U-Belt is for the custom dice effects. Yep, reminds me of the hours of fun I had reskinning WinApp. That's funny. Yeah. So, unfortunately for you, DJMC, you've shown how old you are. And I know I'm old because I know exactly what you're talking about. Reskinning WinApp. That's really funny. Yeah, I think the theme is too much. So, Tom, this is you're my guest here. I'm sitting here running my mouth and talking to the chat. What haven't we covered, man? Is there anything else that was left on your list?
I love your mood board that you have in the background. Like, I think that's such a. I tried battle maps, and it doesn't sing with me because I've always played Theatre of the Mind, and I think it's because I never played D&D until recently.
Right.
So all of the games that I played were Theatre of the Mind, and I just prefer it. So I tried battle maps. I built 3 and just got bored of doing them. I built one because my players are using a ship that doesn't exist so much in Star Wars. We've made I saw a very cool little model that someone had done that looked like an old YT freighter.
Nice.
So I called it a YT800, did a custom floor plan for it, and that's the only one that we still use. But I like that idea of a mood board in the background, and I think that's something that I'm going to I'm going to take away and do, because that's easy to throw together.
It is.
And I think it's better at painting the picture than a battle map put on the screen. So that's really cool.
So if you go to my YouTube and you look here, this is my first time running the system. And we've got 7 sessions, and then for reasons that it died. But you'll notice here, and I'm going to mute this. You'll notice that it's going to run ads. Anyway, go back and watch it. But you'll see me using battle maps at first too. Partially because that's what I was used to, right? And I just you know what it ended up doing for me, Tom, is it ended up taking away from the game. Because people got fiddly about it, and they're like, well, I'm going to hide behind this crate. And I'm like, well, that crate's not really there, right? Like, it's just a picture. Like, stop it. Like, like I've described to you what the situation is. But they get, but it's not the player's fault. I mean, I've made a graphic for them, right? So that they see it. So I'm with you, Tom. And I like the term mood board, actually, because that's really what I'm doing, is I'm just trying to create the look and the feel of it. If we go to my scenes here, like if you go, when I was running the wheel, if you have not seen this yet, but all the time that I spent with them in the wheel, I had this up, and it does a couple things for me, Tom. One, it gives my players a look and a feel, but you know what it also does? It helps my descriptors. So as a GM, I'm looking at these pictures and they're giving me the look and feel, which makes my job a little bit easier, a little bit less heavy lifting when I'm describing things, you know. And if you go back and watch this episode on YouTube, you'll hear me say, you know, talk about the ceilings, and you know, there's you know, you look outside and you see a huge glass showing the spaceships that are outside. All that is I'm describing the freaking pictures to them, but you know, I'm tying it all together. So yeah, try it out, Tom. I'll be anxious to hear whether your players like that.
The chase that you did through this scene was really good, because again, the pictures in the background just reinforced like they were running through crowds of people and like the surroundings around them. And that did more for me than a battle map would have.
That makes me happy, Tom. It does. Same for me and my players. I think my players like this approach better, and I definitely like the approach better. And you know, I'm not playing a minis games. I'm playing a role-playing game, right? So I want this to be a different experience. I don't want to move models around on a thing. I do that when I play Malifaux and Marvel Crisis Protocol. I don't want to do it when I'm playing Star Wars RPG. Question from Peekert is, how big is your mood board size in Foundry? It's pretty big, man. Each of these scenes, you know, like last episode here, I had them, you know, come to this facility, and then I showed them this picture, and I made it part of my descriptors, so it made it even more real and more vibrant as they went through it. And then when they went inside, you know, we had a whole scene last episode where they went inside that facility, and I just grabbed some pictures and I just put them up there, but I integrate them into my descriptions, right? So I may not say it looks like the top left picture. I'm not going to do that. What I do is, as I'm describing it, and I'll say, you know, and like, not only is there, you know, plants are growing because of the layer of dirt that's been there on the facility, and you see it's like there's trees growing from up through the ground, and you know, I'm pulling from the picture. But it helps just create the canvas that I'm trying to paint on there. Snoop says we quite liked an alien having a blueprint of the ship. It was just room scale, so it's just tracking where the players are. Well, you know what, Snoop? I mean, look at me. I agree with you on that. I mean, if you look here, I mean, this is a battle map, kind of, right? But I like it, you know, because it gives people a little bit of a look and feel for the ship. A lot, you know, and if Gal says he's going to go to cargo, I'll move him to cargo and show him that he's there. So here's an instance where I'm kind of using a battle map, and for some reason for the ship, I'm the same way, Snoop. With the ship, I kind of like a little bit of a battle map, but you'll notice that there's not a grid, and you know, and I'm not saying you can move 4 squares, so I don't take it to that level. So Tom, we're at 90 minutes, which I am willing to stay longer, but I don't want to lose anything that we haven't covered, because you're the reason why this is happening. So what else can we talk about? Is there anything left on your list?
I'm trying to, below your light and dark side roller, you have a little thing at the very bottom there. What is that?
That
Ah,
is, it's part of the skin thing that I talked
oh, okay.
about. So the answer is I don't use it.
Okay. I saw it and was like,
Yeah,
that looks like it does something really cool.
it's his
What
it's his
what does it
well-deserved
do?
little ad because his skinning thing is beautiful. And just
Yeah,
because
it
I don't
is.
like it doesn't mean that your players won't freak out when they see it and love it.
Yeah.
So, and he has put a ton of work into it, and it's gorgeous.
I think you've covered everything Foundry-wise for questions that I have so far.
Yeah,
I really want your combat overlays. Did you give a space one, or is it the same?
so I use the same one. So all I have to do is then if I go here to scenes, I don't know, let's see if I already have one.
I saw you were trying to design one for space at one point that was like circles,
Yep,
but
and I hated it, and I just
yeah,
went. What you're seeing is you're seeing the final iteration, is what that is. But what I would do
it
is,
works. It works really well. Like
oh, I'm
it's as soon as because I used to use a circular one, and it got lost because it had short, medium, long range and stuff. And obviously, if everyone's moving around,
right.
you lose the idea of positioning because it's labeled the rings going
Yep.
outwards. So you kind of like, oh well, you're now in short range, but it still says it gets muddy in
Yeah.
an already muddy kind of situation. So
So to answer your
I think
question, what I would do, Tom, is instead of having my mood board be this, I would have space as the mood board, and I would just drop the
yeah,
overlay on there, and I just do the same thing with the spaceships. And believe it or not, with the spaceships, it really works really nice because you can kind of put them in the center and have ships coming from both sides and stuff. But yeah, I use the exact same thing for it. DJMC says Tom needs to share his beard care tips. He does have a sexy beard.
Lockdown is my beard care tip. It's just this is laziness.
That's funny. That's funny. Onisaru, I'm glad it was helpful, and I appreciate you watching. But I think we're wrapping up. So a couple quick plugs. One is make sure if you're not already listening to the podcast, I have a ton of some of the giants of role playing. Coming on the podcast, I'm interviewing them. I've got John Harper is a recent one who did Blades in the Dark. Dennis Detwiller, if you're a Cthulhu or Delta Green fan, my interview with Dennis Detwiller is worth listening to. And we are on a regular basis putting out content for miniature games as well as role-playing games. So it's Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. You've got the YouTube channel as well as Twitch. So if you have not followed me on Twitch, if you can go ahead and take care of that right now for me, I would appreciate it. And if you're not already liked and subscribed on YouTube, if that's where you're watching, if you could do that as well, I would appreciate it. Coming up tomorrow is the next episode of my Blades in the Dark live stream. I think it's at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. If you go to my YouTube, you'll see it's already scheduled. If you watch on Twitch, you can interact with the cast. Blades in the Dark, if you have not explored it, John Harper's Blades in the Dark is one of my favorite role-playing games. It is a phenomenal system. And if you want to break from something different and you want to play something that you probably never played before or anything close to it, I highly recommend it. And then I think we are a week away. I think next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, we're going to do our next Star Wars, The Good, the Scum, and the Villainy, which I know people are anxious for. They just came across, we're doing the Beyond the Rim module. They just came across the broken up escape pod that has all the bugs in it. So things are getting exciting there. So if you like and subscribe, follow all that baloney, you'll be able to catch that as well. Tom, is there anything that we need to plug on your side, man? Is there shout outs or anything?
No, I don't do any live streaming. We've talked about it, but we're worried that we'll just embarrass ourselves, so we don't do it. But no, nothing to plug on my end.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Great.
Everybody in chat, I love the interaction. I love how you've interacted with each other and how you're interacting with us. So I really appreciate you coming by. I appreciate you watching. For those of you that are watching the recording of this, I appreciate you sitting through it. I mean, you made it through 90 minutes of our garbage. So hats off to you. Obviously, you need to upgrade your life if you didn't have something better to do than listen to me talk. But anywho, Lou, and Tom, a big thanks to you, man. You and I did not know each other, and it's one thing that's great about tabletop gaming is how you make fast friends, and that's part of the beauty of it. So cheers, Tom, and you and I will catch up afterwards. All right.
Yeah.
For those of you that stuck around to the end, thanks for watching. Take care.